Hello, it's Liam Bastic from Some Product here again. Got some exciting news for you this time out. Longer than a 5-minute video. Dynamic arrays finally becoming generally available. That's right, Microsoft, they announced them in late September last year, that's 2018, depending on when you're watching this video, have finally announced at Ignite in November 2019 that they're slowly going to becoming generally available, means available to anyone that's got Office 365 or Excel on the web. So I thought we'd do a refresher today to celebrate on dynamic arrays. Let's take a look then at dynamic arrays in a kind of like a medium length video here. I've done a longer video already in the past when they were first announced, so there's a link down in the resources below to show you where you can see the full version. And we are going to be doing a succession of 5-minute videos in the near future on the Some Product channel, and those links will appear down here in due course. But this is the new announcement. Dynamic arrays now generally available, which means they're on the web version of Excel right now, and they are slowly rolling out to anyone who's got Office 365. It's no longer in the insider track, it's coming out. You might not see it straight away, don't get worried, but it's on its way. So the first thing we've got to say is, well, Liam, okay, this is all very exciting. You sound very excited. What the hell is a dynamic array? And why should I be excited about it? My God, you've got to be excited about it. Because if you're not, who's going to be? No, there is a reason. They've changed the whole calculation engine. As I said, they announced this in September last year. They've been tweaking it and playing around with it, but they've got 6, arguably 7 new functions to come through. Then there's also XLOOKUP and XMatch, which will depend on it as well, that have been announced recently that are still in preview mode at the time of recording this video. But this allows you to do new things with the calculation engine. Let me explain. In the past, you might create an array by going highlighting a range like this, say doing a simple formula. I'm going to do the very imaginative equals 1. And you used to have to press Control Shift Enter, and that would put the formula into all those cells with braces, these curly brackets around it. The problem with this is if I try to insert a row in here, well, only Chuck Norris can change part of an array. We can't do that. I can't even go in here and delete part of it. It's got to be all or nothing. And this was quite limiting. It would eat memory, and there were a whole load of reasons why a lot of people just shied away from them. But dynamic arrays brings them into the masses. It makes it easier to use. You don't need to remember to use Control Shift Enter. That's for the old legacy arrays. New ones, you just press Enter. But you do cool things like this. Imagine this table I've got here. Shape, colors, and sides. I know, a really cool table here that you'd use all the time. If I click down here and go equals and just highlight the table, it won't bring in the formatting. You'll still have to do that. But if I press enter, watch. It's brought the whole thing in. Notice here, it's got the formula F12 to H27, no braces. Elsewhere, that formula hasn't got dollar signs around it. It hasn't needed anchoring, but it has gone grey to show that this is a formula that it emanates here, which is why I've formatted this cell differently, because that's where the source of the whole thing is, and it's spilled, get used to that word, spilled into this range. And I'll tell you it's spilled because if I put a blockage here, let's see if I'm nothing if not literal here, blockage, I get a hash spill error because it can no longer, as soon as I remove this, it will spill again. And the cool thing is if I start going in here and inserting columns, so if I go there and insert, and I can insert rows if I wanted to, it's spilled accordingly. Isn't that cool? Please say yes, I'm going to get upset otherwise. So, first question we've got to address, there'll be the naysayers out there saying, oh, with all these array formula in my model, I'm using Control Shift Enter, what's going to happen to them? They'll still be there. They're not going anywhere. Microsoft always says for the foreseeable future. They don't get rid of anything. They're saying they're going to deprecate concatenate. They put in concat and they put in text join years ago in Excel 2013. They're still there. VBA's around. They've tried to get people onto JavaScript. There was a programming language before VBA. It's still there. Everything's going to stick around. It's just you might have to treat it in a different way. Just be careful. They've brought in this @ symbol, which was originally the single function, which is why I've kept the single here, just a reminder that it was single if you look at the old video. They've changed it now to the @ symbol, probably just to annoy Twitter. And what happens is this allows you to still do the old actual versions of creating formulas should you wish. You see, in the past, I would have written a formula in here, and I'd have gone and highlighted maybe this range here and done equals, highlighted all those and gone Control Shift Enter, and it would have put them all in. See, and what it does in each one, it's showing where there's an intersection, this implicit intersection in here. Now you've got to be careful using the Control Shift Enter, because if I did the same thing here and went equals and highlighted this whole range here and went Control Shift Enter, it only shows me the top left hand corner, which is the 717. If instead I just went equals and highlighted all this, then it would try and spill and can't because there's something in here already. But if I want to have it use the old method of using an array, I just put an @ symbol in front. So if I go equals @ and highlight this and press enter, I get the 978 because the 978 intersects with this particular row. So if I press the F2 function key, you see that it's here. The 978 is on the same row as the formula. If I were to copy this formula down, I get 508 for this one and so on. And that's what I've got down here with this 203. Don't be surprised if you open up old files and see @ symbols coming at you all over the place, especially with functions that can actually generate ranges like index and @ and so on. Some functions always reduce everything to one value, like the sum function, for instance, but others, like in their offset and index, you may find you get an @ symbol in front of them to say, I know you built this under the old method, so I'm putting this in because I think this is what you want. And you can force in the @ symbol too. So this is one of the new operators. It was the single function before that came in, but that's pretty cool. Other things we've got here, we've got sort. So in here, one of the things that used to annoy people a whole lot is you used to write user-defined functions and all sorts of things. Is I want to put these points in the right order. So you'd start doing things like using the rank function here. So you go rank, open brackets. I'll click on this cell and then highlight all that. Use F4 and then this will give me the order, and then what I'll do is I'll put those in. So that's number 7, and I'll put all these in, and then I'll put the numbers 1 to however many there are here. What's that going to be? 15 of them. Use index match or XLOOKUP now or whatever to put them in the right order, and this is what we used to do. I'll write an actual function. Nah, you just go equals sort open brackets, and I highlight this data here. Now, notice it's got a sort index, so if you've got more than one column arranged, you can say which one it is, what the order is, ascending, by descending, and by column or by row, depending on how your table is. In something like this, when I've just picked one column and I want it to be sorted this way, it goes in ascending order, starting with the bottom one. If I wanted to make that descending, I'd just go in here, comma, comma to sort order, and I put descending in, and that will be it. Now it's descending. How simple is this? People have written PhD theses on things that are simpler than writing a sort function in Excel in the past. Pretty cool. Then we've got sort by. Maybe I want this table reordering on the points for all of these things. So I just put in here, this is just an extension of the last one. Sort by, open brackets. The array, what's the array? I'm going to take this whole range here. So I'm going to put this in, F13 to H27. Notice I'm not worried about putting $signs in. What's the first array I want to order it on? I want to do it on the points, and I want it to be in sort order of descending. So I'll put -1 in. Then, in case there's two people that tie, and I think you'll find there is a tie in here, they've got 2 on 508, Blake 7, and also Ivana Tinkle, get it? Sorry, nothing if not crude. So I'll now do it on surnames as well, and I want those to be in ascending order, so I'll put 1. And if I go close brackets and press enter, how long would it have taken you to do that? This is just opening up a whole new avenue of how to use Excel. That's what we're talking about here. Just nice and simple. As I say, I'm going to go through these in more detail in other videos. Check out the resources. Filters, another one. Now, yes, I know I can just highlight this table, I can go to the data tab, and I can go in here and I can click on filter. Of course I can. But sometimes you want to do this formulaically. I want to just go, I want to create a formula. So I'm going to go in here and go, okay, equals filter. Right, the array is this. Then what I want to do, comma, is what is it I'm going to include? I want to include if I get this next one here, that equals that. And then if it's empty, I want it to say not located. So we can put that in, even put a full stop in, press enter. There it is for triangle. How easy was that? The whole table in. Right, there's circle. Here's pentagon. Not located. Pretty cool. Formulaic. Now, the one that makes me laugh is the unique function, because it's actually got two meanings. And this is because people who use Excel and people who use databases and tables tend to have different definitions for what unique means. You might want a unique list of just the, I've got all these people in here. So I've got, in this particular case, Alice, Barbara, Charlie, Dion, Echo, Fred, George, Helen, Iris, Jack, and it keeps going. But then I see duplication. I want a list of all the names in there. I just want those that occur once. How do I get that? So I've missed off here the store. This is when you actually want to sort on one particular item, and we can order it as well. So we can say, okay, I'm going to do unique. So if I go unique, and I just click on this, unique, and click OK, and highlight this column, and press enter, I get north, east, south, and west, which is the order it finds them. If I want to sort that, I just put in front of it, sort. So you can nest these functions, and there it is, east, north, south, and west. Where would you be going to actually do this in your own time? This is a 2-second calculation, and it will extend. If I put in here southwest, there you go. Southwest is now in here. Pretty snazzy, eh? That's one version of unique. That's when you just want to get a list of all the items that are in there. Another version of unique is sometimes you want to know which items occur once and only once in there. And unique bizarrely uses that as well, because if I go back through this, if I look at the unique function down here, if I go for the section, let's go to this one instead. So in here, I'm going to get the salesperson. I'm going to go here equals unique, open brackets. It wants the array, so I'm going to go for this one. I want the salesperson, so I'm going to go for all of these. I just want the people that have only got one, so it's going to be by column. So we're going to do, by column, that's the default. And I want it when it returns exactly once. We'll use that one, which is true, or the value 1. And then I can go close brackets, and this gives me a list of those people in there. We've already got the list of all the people here, Alice, Barbara, Charlie. It's the same list down here. But Echo, Jack, Lindsay, and Oprah, well, they're a bit work shy. They've only got one task each. Whereas here I've got, in this particular one, I've used a different version of unique on column I here. Their manager, there's only 4 managers, but this is all 4 managers. And as it turns out, they're all appearing more than once. So I'm using 2 different versions of unique. I've put comma 0 in here, which is the same as putting false there. And I've put comma true. I could put the 1 value in there. Nice and simple. Next up, sequence. Sequence looks a bit weird to start off with. You think, well, I don't really see a use for this. But if I go in here and I go, OK, equals sequence, and I go in here, the number of rows is going to be 3. The number of columns is going to be 4. I'm going to start with the 5, and I want the step to be 6. That's all very well. What the hell does that mean, Liam? It means the following. I get 3 rows. I get 4 columns. It starts with the number 5, and it goes up in increments of 6. That's really good, Liam. Yeah, so let me show you why this might be useful. Here's something I prepared earlier. Let me introduce you with the sequence function to the idea of dynamic financial modeling. What I mean, well, here I've got a start date. I've called it here. I'll put the range name example start date of 7th November 2019, which is the day I've recorded this video. And the number of periods, a range name here of number 1, which I can flex. So I've got just a drop down list here. If I change it to 5, watch what happens. Do you see this? Got the numbers 1 to 5 going on here. What? If I change this to 4, it goes back. And I'm using random numbers, which is why the numbers keep changing here. But you see how it's extending and retracting at will. What's going on? Well, I've put a counter in here. I showed you that 1 common number of periods. The 1 forces it to be horizontal instead, so it's giving me the numbers 1 to 8. I'm then using the EO month function, end of month function in Excel. So that's going back to this start date. So end of month of 7th of November 19,0 is the end of November 2019, which is the 30th of November. If I did comma 1, it would be the 31st of December 2019, comma 2 would be the 31st of January 2020, and so on, which is what's going on here. Put the rest of these dates in, I can work out the number of days, and I can go through here, and I've got just my final function I'm going to come to in a minute. I've generated some random numbers to get my revenue and my profit. How cool is that? Notice can't use the sum function here. If I use the sum function, I get the wrong answer. It keeps giving me a weird number. It sums them all up because sum forces things to coerce. It actually makes them all come into one cell. It won't spill, so avoid the sum function with dynamic arrays. But this is the future. This is why I'm raving about it. Shown you rand array there already, but let's just take you back to my examples here to finish off. Rand array is quite simple in this. It just generates a random number between in how many rows and columns you want, so you don't have to go through. So I just go in here equals rand array, and even better when you spell it properly. And it will actually, if I go 3, 4, it will generate a random number between this. If I want it to be between a minimum and a max, let's say I want it to be 10 and 20, and I want it to be an integer. So I do want it to be an integer. There you go. I get random integers between 10 and 20 over 3 rows and 4 columns. And that can be useful for things like simulation analysis and so on, which I just don't have time to show here. Hopefully this has been a good refresher, which just shows you how cool dynamic arrays are, why you need to get Office 365 or Excel on the web and start using them. That's it for this medium session. Hope you found it useful. We do have a longer session on dynamic arrays. Do check it out, and we do have the 5-minute videos too. If you've enjoyed this session, my name's Liam Bastek. As always, if you didn't, my name's Tim Hang. Thank you.